Yeah, one of the hottest topics on the website is about who's the best of the best, and so this is something that I've been waiting to get from you. Um, Before we go into football, I want to do basketball first,
Okay.
and so I want to get who is your starting five, point guard through center, or however you want to go. Your best starting five, East Chicago Central star point guard.
Okay. Now, first I'm gonna say this. I can only really give players during my high school years and maybe what I heard a little while after. But point guard, from what I know, I say Coop.
Right about it, yeah.
Yeah, because Coop was fast, and it was like his first step, man, off the dribble. I ain't really see nobody who can never defend that while he was playing, high school basketball. It's like he'd take you off the dribble because he was fast, you know, and he can handle the rock. He was just quick, man. So I say Coop. I think he was more explosive than Dale. Dale was a floor general for that team that he had. He kept
Yeah.
everything in order, all the pieces in order. But just being a athlete and a player, I say Coop.
Shooting guard.
Vaughn, Wayman Upshaw.
That's a good pick. Sticks.
Wayman Upshaw, no doubt. I mean, I can remember our senior year. I'm almost for sure. I want to say sectionals. It could have been the regionals where I don't know if he was playing West Side or somebody, but the dude was on fire, and they ended up taking him out the game because they wanted to reserve him for the night game.
Yeah.
And ended up losing.
Wow.
But Vaughn, and I don't remember exactly what game it was. One of those basketball players can probably verify which game that was, but I know they know what I'm talking about. But Vaughn had a stroke, man. He did.
Okay. Small forward.
What position did Etwan play?
He was a shooting guard, small forward. You can go back and forth.
I never seen the kid play, and I'm kind of mad I didn't get a chance to see him play, but I would have to say Etwan and Judah in that spot, man, because Judah played the 3-2, since both of them kind of played that same spot, it'd be hard to say one or the other, because of Etwan's success, you can't take that away from him. But me being at Central when Judah was playing some of those years, he was a great player, man.
So who you gonna go with?
I'm gonna have to split those boys. Okay. I don't want to pick one or the other right there. I like to say I was in high school when Judah was there.
Gotcha.
But you just can't take everything I hear about Etwan Moore.
Yeah,
I can't take nothing. I cannot exclude him from this top five.
Exactly. Power forward.
Man, again, Jay Buggs was a beast. During the years when I was in school. I heard a lot about Udi. Didn't get a chance to see him play either. Rick White played power forward. I had to go with Big Rick, man.
Yeah.
I did get it. I think I came back to see Rick play 1 or 2 games when I was in college, and I mean his story too is self-explanatory. He ended up going to Villanova, right?
Yeah.
Playing overseas.
Yeah.
And I think he played well in Villanova. I remember
He did.
turning on the TV sometime seeing Big Rick out there.
He did.
And Rick was a big body, man. So I go with Rick.
All right. Center.
East Chicago ever really had
Never.
a real dominant center.
Yeah. I know, like, a lot of people say like Marlon Anderson.
But Marlon Anderson, he can shoot. He was shooting threes too, man. So it wasn't like he was a post-up center like Glenn was. So that's Central always had like a rotating kind of front court, man. No really dominant center, but what did Udi play, center?
He was once again power forward center. Yeah.
Again, I didn't get to see the kid play, but from the stories and what everybody's saying, I would have to say you have to put that kid in there. And again, a lot of the players that was after '93, I didn't get to see a whole lot of, so I'm just going off of what I was hearing when I was coming back home.
Gotcha.
So as far as the players that I heard about that probably should be in there, no doubt Etwan, Udi, but everybody else, like I said, Coop was at the guard, Vaughn was at the shooting guard, and Rick Wright at center. I think that's a good starting line.
That is. Who is the best basketball player you've ever seen in Chicago Central?
Judah. Judah's again. We're talking about Central started in '87. I think Judah and them started. I think they started like their sophomore year. They got into the lineup real early. Something happened.
Yeah.
With some of those other guys that were starting back in the day, and it pushed like J Bugs in them class and Judah and Damon in them class into playing a whole lot. And if I can remember it right, because I was still at Westside.
Yeah.
But I would say Judah. You know, I can remember being real young again at Washington Elementary and seeing Kenny Lofton play. But you know, it wasn't Central then. It was Washington and Roosevelt, and seeing Tony Harris take a few people for a ride on the dunk, dunking on some people. You know, but as far as Central, it had to be Judah.
Okay. Okay. Now we're gonna do football, which is interesting. So I want to go from each position, and then at the end, I want the best, who you feel is the best player to ever come through play football. So let's start off with quarterback.
And again, you gotta think about the time frame. Again, we're probably talking. I got the Central in '90. Yeah, because Judah and them was seniors. Yeah, so from '90 to '93, or to my senior year is really what I can comment on. So Woontz.
Yeah, Eric Irvin.
You know, it's pretty much just Woontz and Bob.
Yeah.
You know, and then Duncan Purnell was the quarterback my senior year. But between Woontz and Bob, I would have to say Woontz. Woontz had a nice arm on him, and he was scrambled too, but he had a real good arm on him, man. I can remember when I first came off of football, we was doing a little passing in the gym.
Yeah.
And he threw me a pass, and like I said, I couldn't catch the ball that well, so I caught it with my chest, and like my chest was all flamed up and red. I was like, man, dude got a rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say Woontz.
Okay. Running back.
You got right to it, didn't you? You know, man, I played with both Thing and Royce, and they both very good high school running backs. Both very good running backs, and it's hard to pick one of those over the other.
Who's better?
But if I would say anything, it's because our senior year and the load that Royce had to carry our senior year, I would definitely I get an edge to Royce, man. You know, they were both good. I ain't taking nothing away from Ping at all, because Ping is a great back, a real good back, and again, I think they complemented each other. But just what we had to do our senior year, and you know, he didn't have Royce Love back there anymore. He had Tom Lukowski blocking for him anymore. He had Sanford Span, DeWitt Pad, and Big Jermaine. And to see what he did his senior year, I mean, that would be the difference right there. So.
And then on top of that, he's also the Gatorade Player of the Year.
Yep, he was definitely the Gatorade Player of the Year. I think he was like the 4th ranked running back coming out in the country, the 3rd best. Came up to Wisconsin with us, Carl McCullough. But man, Royce had a hell of a senior year, and it's like I can remember some games where Coach E and them would have to tell the offensive lineman, like, look, you got to keep blocking to the end. You know, they would do their initial block, and they would want to see what Royce was doing next. You know, they trying to look and see what Royce going to do to the defense, and it's like you got to stay with your blocks and stuff, man. So he was like a show. He really was, man. So, you know, I ain't taking nothing away from Ping. Just what he had to do our senior year. You know, if I was able to see Ping perform the way he did by losing all of his blockers and stuff like that, and still have an excellent season, it'd be different. But I didn't get a chance to see that. I got a chance to see Royce do what he did.
Gotcha. Fullback.
Well, again, during my time, it was pretty much Ted played fullback and Royce, but it's Royce, man.
Hands down.
Royce was he was a man child. I mean, I know you had to be a man child too, just looking at you and seeing, you know, your physique and being in high school at the time, and I heard you was doing your thing. But Royce was just, he was dominating, man, and he was just like another offensive lineman out there. And it's like when they did give him the ball to run, you know, I can remember a few games where he'll bust some big runs right up the middle, you know. And they probably should have gave him the ball more, but he was just a presence, man, that had to be dealt with. I mean, you know, that line that we had our junior, and then here you got this fullback coming in and cleaning up, you know, Ping and Royce, you know, they just had huge lanes to run through. So, yeah, Royce Love, no doubt.
Wide receiver.
Well, considering we didn't throw a whole lot, Stride. I'm sorry, I was stuck on my 2 years. Stride. Because I can remember Anthony Dardell. I can remember coming to games when I wasn't playing football yet, when I was like a freshman in high school, and just always heard, you know what I'm saying, Anthony Dardell for, you know, a deep touchdown or a deep pass. Every time it seemed like it came to a game, Stride was either catching a touchdown or catching a deep pass. So I would say Stride, and again, you know, we didn't pass a whole lot. So
O-lineman.
Tom Lukowski, man. No doubt, Tom was a real smart player, and he was a dominant player too. And yeah, I would have to say Tom Lukowski, hands down. And Big Rob too. Big Rob played offensive line. He was just so dominant on both sides of the ball. But definitely Tom Lukowski.
D lineman.
Now, I would get that to Big Rob. I didn't get a chance to see Keywan Short play, but just hearing everything about him, I mean, it's hard to just give it to one player. This kid out there in Purdue, you know, I seen him play against Ohio State this year. I never seen him play at Central because I was still up in Wisconsin, but, you know, I just see he had to be a dominant player in high school because he's dominating in college right now against some good teams. But from what I've seen, I would say Big Rob.
Yeah. Linebacker.
Royce Love.
Royce Love over.
Royce Love
over Adian, over Ted Compton.
Yeah, man, because he was just so much a present, man. Ted, I ain't gonna say nothing from Ted. Ted was the type of linebacker, man. I seen Ted have plenty of concussions, man. I'm talking about playing out there, and you don't even know this dude had been playing like half of the game or a quarter with a concussion because he was just, you know, he used to sniff out the ball. He was always where the ball was supposed to be, so I guess he didn't have to know any plays because he was just a, you know, he used to hunt the ball. And Big Adian, man, that was my sophomore year when Adian was a senior, and he was a big linebacker. He used to hit too, you know, but as far as covering the field and doing everything, Royce was a general. Royce was a linebacker, man. I think he was starting before I played football the year before. I think he started with Keno.
Yeah.
Then he ended up starting with Adian. Then he ended up starting with Ted Compton.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say Royce, man.
Okay. Cornerback.
Pachi.
Okay.
Pachi, I would have to say, because that's all I played with. Pretty much just with Pachi and Kroom, and then I played with Al and Killer.
Yeah.
So I got 4, you know, cornerbacks to choose from. And again, after me, I don't really know a whole lot about a lot of players after me, especially at the corner position. But from what I know, I would definitely say Pachi.
Yeah, there was a few after you. I know, like Rodney Reynolds, and then Keon Jackson. He played at Toledo.
Okay.
Everything, but yeah, but those guys came after. Yeah, but
right.
Okay. Right. Safety. This should be pretty easy.
Well, I you know, just I was a decent player, man. You know,
no, you was a great player. You weren't decent.
Get on to myself, but
we
did well, brother. We did well, and I mean, it could be a toss-up between me and Royce. It all depends on who you ask. You know, I think we was both complimentary to each other, you know, at safety. But you know, my senior year, he didn't play as much safety. He was playing a lot of running back, and I was still back there full time. So I give myself, you know, the nod on that. But you know, Royce was, you know, arguably people can say he was a better safety, but I think we was good together.
Yeah. Who was the best player to ever play football in Chicago Central, regardless of position?
Wow.
Because I say that because I always do, like, off the record, you know, I always say, man, you know, give me your top 5 best players.
Right.
And out of the top 5 or 6 players that everybody named, you know, your name always mentioned, but you didn't play both ways. The other 5 guys went both ways.
Right. Right.
You know, so that speaks a lot about you.
Right.
That you played one side of the ball. You mentioned in the top 5 or top 6 all time.
Right. Right. Well, yeah.
Because really, you know, we got, of course, Royce Payne,
Right.
Big Rob, and then we got Dante Smith.
And that's Royce. You know, that's
Yeah.
Royce's little brother.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, that's cool to see that you know his little brother is in that same conversation with him too. And then,
Yeah.
depending on who you talk to, when you just want to talk about a bunch of running backs, the other brother Alfonso
Yeah.
can be, you know,
Yeah, he was
mentioned
big,
in that.
big running back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was big like Royce Love, man. It was crazy how big that backfield was my sophomore year.
Yeah.
But the best running back, the best player in Central history. I know this is gonna sound crazy because what I had already stated as far as the best running back, but I think Ping is the best player, and that's crazy because I said Royce was the better running back, but Ping's the truth, man. Ping, I would give it to Ping, no doubt.
Okay.
I would give it to Ping, and I know everybody gonna be like, wow, you say Royce was the best running back, but Ping is the best player. Again, you know, I talked about those 2 different seasons and what they had to work with is why I say Royce is a better running back. But what Ping was doing, what Ping meant to that team my junior year, and just as a player, you know, it was like just the dude. Ping got just like a famous name, like Martel France.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just one of them names, you know.
Yeah.
Martel France. You see it in the papers, like everybody wants to know who this Martel France was. So
Yeah.
anyway, I would say Ping. I know I'm gonna get questioned about this. Like, how can you say this and then how can you say that? But Ping,
Yeah.
I think Ping was that I seen.
Yeah.
Again, arguably, you know, right now from that point to now, you can say Keywan Short might be.
Yeah.
You know, that can be, you know, an argument too, because what he's doing at the next level.
Yeah.
You know, but Ping.
All right. What kind of advice can you give to not only each Chicago athlete, but any athlete who sees this video about, you know, as far as your situation? Didn't grow up in a football city. You know, grew up in a basketball city. Went to play basketball, and end up transitioning to football sophomore year, and end up doing well. Played a big time program in Wisconsin, got a degree, and now living life to the fullest. What kind of advice can you give to that type of athlete?
So as far as athletic wise, expose yourself to as many different sports as you can. If you can play baseball, play baseball. If you can play soccer, play soccer. If you play football, play football. You play basketball, play basketball. Don't limit yourself at such an early age to say, I'm going to play this one sport. Because you're still growing mentally and physically, and you don't know what sport later on may be the perfect fit with you for you as an individual. So don't limit yourself. You know, play as many different sports as you can. Definitely, if you can, run track. I mean, even if you play basketball, run track, man. It just keeps you in shape. And, you know, without track, I don't know if I would have been, you know, half of the football player I was because of the position I played. You know, that was speed. But don't limit yourself to one or two sports. Play as many sports as you can, and definitely stick with it. It's gonna be adversity. Just remember to always stick with it and never give up. I know I quit my freshman year, but luckily it came back, and I took advantage of it the second time around when it came across, you know, my table. But stick with it and stay with the academics. To all the young people out there, you have to stay with your academics. Okay, I mean, if you don't know your academics, more than likely you're gonna struggle with the playbook anyway.
Yeah.
So get your academics first, because if you don't have your academics, you're not gonna be able to read that playbook. I know, speaking on football alone, how complex some of the plays are. You know, so you got to know the basic of academics, and stick with it. Stick with your dreams, you know, and keep pushing. Don't ever let anybody tell you what you can or cannot do. Okay, when people tell you can't do something, you always try to prove them wrong. Make them believers. Work hard at it. You know, that's the approach I take. When somebody tell me I can't do something, even if it's something that I don't like doing, I'm gonna try to do it just because you said I can do it. As long as it's constructive.
Yeah.
You know, nothing negative. As long as it's constructive, I'm gonna try to accomplish it. You know, because I don't like people telling me what I can and cannot do based on what they think my abilities are. You know, and I always keep pushing in life, and just grow, enjoy life. You only get it once. Hopefully, you surround yourself or your family, if you're of that age or you're still younger. Hopefully, you surround yourself with good people, because good people go a long way. It really does. When you have yourself surrounded by a good community of people who care for you and want to see the best for you, more than likely you're gonna be able to excel in whatever it is you want to excel in. You know, I had a good family, a good backbone for a family, and I had some coaches, at Central at that time, who they really believed in me, and they gave me a whole bunch of confidence that I can be a Division I player. And I think that helped a whole lot. If I didn't have them telling me that, I probably wouldn't even worked as hard as I did. Once they let me know I had that potential, man, I took, oh man, just, I got that potential. I'm gonna work hard now because you said I had that potential. So, just always try to do the right things, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot of negative, but it's also a lot of positive, you know, that you don't hardly see, because it seems like the negative overshadows the positive in the media's point of view and stuff like that. But surround yourself with good people. So surround yourself with good people. Stay on top of your academics, and be involved in as many uh, sports as you can. Don't limit yourself to just one sport. Find your niche.
What is Damon Glenn currently doing now in life?
And currently, right now, I'm a father, taking care of little Papa. That's my son, and I'm an electrician. Got my electrical license. I did that after I graduated from the UW. So I'm a licensed electrician anywhere in the Western Hemisphere of this world. That's from the North Pole to South Pole. Uh, so I'm just working, man, construction electrician right now, and eventually I'm gonna try some entrepreneur things. And I had before. I used to have my own computer business up there in Madison for a little bit, but I'm gonna find me another niche, and I'm gonna do the entrepreneur thing also. But I will be an electrician for the time being. I am an electrician right now and a father.
Okay. D Glenn, man, it was a wonderful opportunity
Always.
having you on the website, man.
Always.
And I'm putting this website up immediately. This interview gonna be up immediately.
It's all good, man.
But I wanna eventually what I wanna do is for this year I wanna do a round table,
Yeah.
and I hope that I can get yourself, Ping. I want guys from different areas of your era. So maybe a Rob Smith, yourself,
Right.
Ping, and just do a round table session with you guys, man, and really get a lot of more feedback on what you guys did for the football program.
Right.
So I look forward to doing that with you.
No doubt.
So I'll
No
be in
doubt.
touch with you.
That's not gonna be a problem at all.
Yeah. This Athlete Lives Network, once an athlete, always an athlete.
Peace.